In the gentle embrace of a sun-kissed morning, atop a verdant hill that overlooked the Sea of Galilee, a multitude gathered, eager and expectant. Among them was Jesus of Nazareth, whose reputation as a teacher and healer had spread far and wide. As he looked upon the faces before him, a serene calm settled over the crowd. Jesus seated himself, a signal to all that he was about to impart wisdom that would echo through the ages. His disciples pressed closer, their hearts open and minds prepared for the lessons to unfold. The air seemed to hold its breath as Jesus began, his voice carrying over the hills with a clarity that touched every soul present. "Blessed are the poor in spirit," he began, "for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." This was no ordinary teaching. It was a declaration of hope and promise to those who felt their own lack, their spiritual poverty. He continued, weaving a tapestry of blessings that embraced those who mourned, promising them comfort. The meek, to whom the earth itself would be given. Those who hungered and thirsted for righteousness, for they would be satisfied. His words were a balm to the merciful, the pure in heart, and the peacemakers, assuring them of mercy, the vision of God, and the title of God's children, respectively. And to those who faced persecution for the sake of righteousness, Jesus offered not just consolation, but a kingdom. "Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me," he declared. This was a call to rejoice amidst trials, for great was their reward in heaven, aligning them with the prophets who had walked this path before. As the sermon unfolded, Jesus likened his followers to the salt of the earth and the light of the world, essential elements that prevent decay and dispel darkness. But if the salt loses its saltiness, he warned, it is no longer good for anything, except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. Likewise, a city on a hill cannot be hidden, nor does one light a lamp to cover it. His followers were to let their good deeds shine before others, that God in heaven might be glorified. Jesus addressed the law, asserting not his opposition to it, but his purpose to fulfill it. "Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them." Every letter, every stroke of a pen in the law would find its purpose in him. He called for a righteousness that exceeded even that of the Pharisees, without which no one could enter the kingdom of heaven. Jesus delved deeper, challenging his listeners to understand the law not just in letter, but in spirit. He spoke of anger, equating it with murder in the heart, of lust, likened to adultery, of the sanctity of marriage, and the integrity of one's word. "Let your yes be yes, and your no, no," he instructed, emphasizing honesty without the need for oaths. He overturned the lex talionis, the law of retaliation, with a radical call to non-resistance and generosity. "If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also," he proposed, a command that bewildered the listeners with its demand for humility and forgiveness. And perhaps most revolutionary was his command to love one's enemies. "Pray for those who persecute you," he taught, introducing a divine standard of love that transcended natural affection. This love reflected the very nature of the Father, who sends rain on the just and the unjust alike. This Sermon on the Mount, as it would come to be known, was more than a moral guide. It was a beacon illuminating the path to a transformed life. Jesus' teachings pierced the veneer of religious compliance, touching the very essence of what it means to be righteous before God. It was a call to internal transformation, a life characterized by genuine love and peace, mirroring the heart of the Father. As Jesus concluded his sermon, the crowd sat in stunned silence, hearts stirred and spirits challenged. The words of this carpenter from Nazareth carried the weight of eternal truths, promising a kingdom not of this world but of the next, and inviting all who heard to walk a path less traveled, the path of the Beatitudes. As Jesus continued teaching on the mountain, he shared a secret with his listeners. When you do something good, do it quietly, not for everyone to see. It's like giving a gift in secret. Only your Father who sees everything will know, and that's all that matters. Then Jesus taught them how to pray. He said, "When you pray, go into your room, close the door and pray to your Father who is unseen. And when you speak to God, you don't need many words. Just speak from your heart." Jesus gave them a simple prayer to say, "Our Father in heaven, Hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. Jesus asked, "Why collect treasures here where moths and rust destroy them, and thieves can steal? Store your treasures in heaven, where they're safe forever. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. The eye is like a lamp for your body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eyes are unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness. So if the light inside you is darkness, how great is that darkness?" Jesus explained, "No one can serve two masters. You cannot serve both God and money. So I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? See how the flowers of the field grow. They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you that not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. So do not worry, saying, 'What shall we eat?' Or 'What shall we drink?' Or 'What shall we wear?' For your heavenly Father knows that you need them. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." Jesus' teachings on the mountain showed a path of faith, kindness, and trust in God's care. He invited everyone to walk this path, not worrying about tomorrow, but living each day with love and faith, always seeking God's kingdom first. Jesus then began with a wise lesson. Do not judge others, and you will not be judged. Imagine walking through a village, noticing people quickly judging each other over small matters. Jesus tells us, instead of focusing on the tiny mistakes of others like a speck of dust in their eye, we should pay attention to our own much bigger mistakes, like a big wooden plank in our own eye. Jesus shared a promise. Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened to you. Imagine if every time you really wanted or needed something, all you had to do was ask. Jesus tells us that's how we should come to God, just like children asking their parents for help. Jesus then spoke of two paths. One is wide, with lots of room and many people on it, but it leads to trouble. The other path is narrow and not many people choose it, but it leads to life. Jesus advises us to find and follow the narrow path. Jesus warned about false prophets, people who might seem good on the outside but are not on the inside. He said, "You will know them by their fruits." Just like trees are known by the fruits they produce, good or bad. Jesus concluded with a story of two builders. One wise, who built his house on a rock, and the other foolish, who built his house on sand. When a storm came, only the house on the rock stood strong. Jesus said, "Everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like the wise builder." With these lessons, Jesus finished his Sermon on the Mountain. He taught us not to judge others harshly, to seek God's help with trust, to choose the right path even when it's difficult, to be cautious of false guidance, and to build our lives on strong foundations. Let's carry these teachings in our hearts and live them out every day. Subscribe now to not miss out on our next episode, where we dive deeper into the Word, finding answers, hope, and inspiration together. Your journey through the Bible, animated and alive, starts here. Click here to watch Part 3.